Good morning, you guys. How are you today? It's Monday and we are back together again, and it is good to be here with you. You are watching part 2 of the 13-part series called A Walk with the Teacher. And last time that we were together, that episode, lesson, episode, call it what you want, but that time together, we talked a lot about boundaries and how beautiful boundaries are and necessary for our life, and how you are 100% right for taking good care of yourself and not sacrificing who you are and your right to be important. So if you have not watched Boundaries Are Beautiful, you could go and watch that one. You don't have to stop this video and go watch that one because this lesson is completely different. However, I do think it's important that before you start this lesson that you have watched A Love That Sets Me Free, because the things that I'm going to reference in regards to how I teach this lesson today come from my story of my walk with the teacher and how Jesus first came to me back in 2002, and then again met me in Pensacola, Florida as my counselor on Halloween of 2019, and then stayed with me, and him and I worked together for a period of 8 sessions total from October 31st to February 4th, face to face, in person, on earth, in Pensacola, Florida. So how I'm going to teach today references those sessions that I had with Jesus. So I definitely feel that you could go watch that first and then come back and join us so this all makes sense to you. And I want to first start by saying that it is beautiful here. It is so pretty here in Council Bluffs, and I think that Mother Nature loves us this year because the winter started off kind of cold and snowy, but it is like 50 degrees today, and I actually went outside because there's no snow on the ground or anything, and I had to take the trash out this morning, which is in the front of my house, and where all of my dead kind of flowers and everything are, because by fall I just never really feel like pulling anything because I'm over it by that point, I guess you could say. So I was out there like early this morning pulling all of the dead flower foliage out from all of my edible flowers and all the flowers that I use on all my pretty cakes, and it felt so good. So I am praying for the Midwest to have an early spring, and we have had an absolutely lovely winter, so that makes me super happy. I am so grateful for that. Okay, so I think we're ready to get started. I want to make sure that, as always, that you have something to write with, to take some notes, and a pen, and I hopefully that you are comfy. I have my cucumber mint seltzer water. I've got my handy dandy chapstick because I'm addicted to chapstick too. Just add it to my list. And I have not even taken a shower or anything like that today. So you guys always get to see me really just casual and just like I am, because I spent so many years of my life worrying so much about how others perceived me, like how I had to have my hair perfect, I had to have my face perfect, I had to have my clothes perfect, I just had to be perfect. And oh my goodness gracious, it was so much work to try and be perfect. And I always felt like I had to be perfect because I always felt like I had to hide like who I really am, or I had to compare myself to other human beings, and all of those weird things that plague so many of us. So today we are going to talk about some things that Jesus worked with me on over my course of time with him in the physical world here. And this lesson today is all about don't hide. You are not in trouble, and you do not need to compare yourself to anyone else. So in my first session of counseling with him, that is where he and I were really just getting to know each other. I did not even really know that it was him again, because the first time that Jesus came to me, he came to me as a woman, and that woman, her name as a counselor was Alicia. And Alicia was about my same age back at that time, which was 29, and had just very casual dress, light colored hair that she always wore back in a ponytail. And this time when Jesus appeared to me, because remember, Jesus can do anything he or she wants to, because he created all this. So it's whatever you need is how he's going to perceive or come across to you. So that is something really to think about. And I know that's a lot to think about. So if you have questions and things about that, this video series, hopefully is helping you to see the Jesus and the God that everyone thinks is so far off in the heavens and unattainable and perfect, and is looking down upon us with shame and guilt because we're just these broken human beings doing all of these things wrong. Hopefully I am helping you to understand that that is not at all who Jesus is. That is not at all who God is. And all of these rules and these hurtful things going on between us human beings here on earth is man-made. That is not at all how our wonderful, amazing Creator is. So I want you to get to know Jesus for who he really is. So that is what we're doing. So please, so many of you get a hold of me. I'm so grateful for that. So many of you email me, text me, call me, you come see me, and you ask me questions, and that's what I want you to do. So I am so grateful for that. Or you tell me how my life story, or these lessons and stories that I'm telling you, how you have similar stories, or how they are helping you to learn and to grow. So I just want you to know that is perfectly wonderful and amazing. So the first time, continuing on, that I met with Jesus, he knew who I was, obviously. I was not aware of who he was yet at that time, although when he first greeted me, I thought something like inside of me, like, huh, I like that. I like that person. And as we walked to his office, and I sat, I'm gonna cry, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna cry, I'm gonna try not to cry through this. As we walked down the hallway to his office, and I walked in his office, it was so pretty. He had earth tone kind of colors, and I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm really into owls, and he had owls everywhere in his office, and a beautiful window. And I'm going to explain to you how he looks to me now, which may be different than how he looks to you, but he looks this way to me. So the first time, 29-year-old, casual, sandy, blondie, brown colored hair, calm, peaceful person. This time, same feeling. He still felt so casual and comfortable and relatable and actually, handsome. But he had black hair and the same bluest of eyes that Alicia had. I think that is what intrigued me the most about him, is that I recognized, even the first moment that I saw him, those eyes that he has. And they're as blue as the sky on a clear morning. And light colored skin and sharp features. And he was taller than me. I'd say he was about this tall. And as we sat in his office that first day, he and I had a lot, like we were getting to know each other again. It was so good, because here I am 20 years later, and now I am a social worker and I am a counselor, and I'm friendly and bubbly and super excited. And I was sober when I had walked into his office. I'd had at that moment about I'd say a week sober, which had been, that was a long time for me at that moment in my life. And so him and I, for the first hour that we were together on Halloween, it was so wonderful to just get to know him as my counselor. His name was Franklin at that time. Franklin, my dark-haired counselor. And we talked all about teaching and counseling and the Myers-Briggs and the Keirsey-Bates and all these wonderful things. And I remember him asking me at that time about my sobriety and how long, when's the last time I drank and all those things. And I lied. I told him that I had not drank since I got my DUI back in July of 2019. And that I was just doing this to get a requirement of the DUI court, and that I am good, and it was just a really bad chapter of my life. So I lied to him about every single thing that was actually going on in my heart, because I was scared. I was so used to hiding every part of myself, because I felt that everywhere I went, whether it be true or not, it was my perception. And I think as human beings, that's what matters, is I perceived that every single person was against me. They were judging me. They were talking bad about me. They were pitying me, like, oh my God, can you believe one day she was so successful and here she is she is a wreck, right? And then at home, my relationship with my husband, Brandon, had been very, very tragic for a long period of time because of the substance abuse and all of the things that go along with being sick on his part and on my part. So it was just messy, very, very messy. And so as I was getting ready to leave that day, I blurted out of my mouth. So I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I have had so many chapters in my life. So in my 30s, I fell in love with someone and had wonderful, 5 wonderful years. I would say probably the healthiest relationship I've ever been in. And it was with a woman, and her name was Helen. And I ended my relationship with Helen back in 2009. And she is now married to a wonderful woman. She and I are still very good friends. But I felt like at that time that I was in that relationship with Helen, I liked her. She treated me so good. She actually treated me for the first time ever how to trust someone, because I never knew how to trust anyone. And she taught me trust, even when I couldn't trust her because I didn't know how. She would be so gentle and kind with me. And so Helen was a really good chapter of my life. But I ended my relationship with Helen because I was told, that I'm in trouble, and that sexuality was meant to be between men and women and all of those things. And, I never really believed that. I thought, who are you? Who are you? Who are you to tell me what is right and wrong? Just because you choose to live your life a certain way gives you the right to tell someone else. That is a horse manure, first of all. Stinky stink. However, I was a lot younger. I was in my 30s at that point. And the Bible that I loved so much told me that was wrong too. And I was like, I am so confused. I don't understand how something so beautiful and loving, a loving God or creator can tell me is bad when I'm not hurting anyone or anything. I'm actually the healthiest I've ever been. So I was super confused, right? And I'm like, so I had a real problem with that, about some of the things that the Bible said about human beings. So gratefully, I'm so grateful that my time with Jesus, he has told me that the Bible was changed by early human beings to control other human beings. The word homosexual, that was never in the Bible. That was never in the Bible. About men having power over women, That was put in there by early men to control women and to keep them repressed for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years, which is all crap. So the Lord told me to trust him, to trust love, to trust my own head and my own heart to lead me to the way of love. So during that first session, as I was getting to know him and thinking, I think I can come back to this guy, even though I lied to him, I'm still going to come back. But I did blurt out at the end of my session with him, I said, hey, I was in a relationship with a woman for 5 years and lived with another woman for 5 years. Because I think my soul already knew, of course it knew, that I was talking to that very person who saved me 20 years ago and loves me and knows me and adores me and actually came back here to this earth a second time to continue to help me. And I said to him, let me say this again so everyone can hear me and there's no question. I said to Jesus, not me, not even knowing it was him yet, but him knowing very well who I was and every experience that I've been through. I said, I've been living with but I lived with a woman for 5 years. I lived with another woman, like as my girlfriend for 5 years. Blurted that out, confessed that. Could not confess yet that I was a raging alcoholic and made horrible decisions. But screeched out that saying to him. And he looked at me with those beautiful blue eyes as he chuckled and he said, that sounds exciting. I said, what'd you say? He said, that sounds exciting. I don't know if you can feel anything right now, but the amount of love that is coming out of me is amazing. Session number 2 with my counselor, with Jesus. I could not wait to go back to see him. But during that 7 or 10 days that it had been, I can't remember exactly how long, I had relapsed. My final relapse. I had drank a non-alcoholic beer out to lunch with my husband, Brandon. And I thought, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. It's non-alcoholic. First of all, I want you to know there is alcohol in non-alcoholic beer. There's 0.05%. So if you are an addict still suffering or you are in recovery and you think it's okay to drink those non-alcoholic little alcohol drinks, we alcoholics or addicts or any kind, I think human beings in general, that little man inside of you, like I had started to put him to sleep. Well, he had stood back up. And as soon as I drank that non-alcoholic beer, he was like, what's that? Right? And I thought, that's pretty good. But I wanted more and more and more and more and more, right? Well, the next day I said, well, I had that non-alcoholic beer. I'm going to get a 6-pack of non-alcoholic beer, right? 6-pack of non-alcoholic beer. And I drank them. And then that little guy inside of me was like, oh man, that feels good. On the 3rd day, I said, well, I think I can have just 1 or 2 beers since they were in the refrigerator just sitting there. And that will be okay as long as I don't get drunk, right? So what did I do? I drank those 2 beers. And then I drank more and more and more and more. And I had the worst blackout that I could ever imagine having. Went to bed that night with so much guilt and shame. Because here I am, starting the recovery process, had met with my counselor for the first time, had said, I know I can do this, and fell in the valley. So that night, as I lay in bed, I'm like, oh my God, Lord, who I need so much, who I have not accepted help from for a long time because I was so sick. I said, I don't want to do this anymore. Please help me. So I had a come to Jesus moment. I will let you know that was the last time that I drank. So here I am in counseling 7 days later, sitting in front of my counselor, and he says, how are you? And I said, I am good. And in that session, I told him every single thing. I told him about the last relapse, and I began to tell him every single thing that had been going on in my life. All of the things that I had done when I was sick and suffering with alcohol. And as I began to tell him about the hard things that I have been going through the last 7 years, I cried all the makeup off my face. Fell in front of him on the floor when he said, it's good to see you again, Wendy. And I looked up and there he was. Oh my God, it's you. And that's when he said, Wendy, you know, you did all of those things because you were hurting. You need not feel shame for any cheating or lying or not being the best teacher that you could have been. He said, Wendy, you could barely care for yourself. Every experience that you have gone through has got you to where you are now. And I want you to know it's over. You never, ever have to hide again. You never have to take a drink or run away or feel that you have to hold all of your emotions or feelings or who you are inside again. Because you know you're good. You are okay. And you are going to make it. I said, are you sure that even though I wasn't a good wife, that I'm okay? He said, was Brandon always a good husband? No. Well, are you sure that because I lied to people? And he said, why? I said, because I was embarrassed. He said, it's okay. He said, someday you get to tell your story. And then other people who are embarrassed or feel guilt or shame or hide because they too have things that they are keeping within themselves because they were hurting too. You get to teach and tell them that you're not in trouble. The universe is not looking down upon you. You are not being judged. You are not going to some made-up place called hell. Remember what hell is, you guys. Hell is a place that we put ourselves. God and Jesus do not put us there. We put ourselves there. Even the people who have done the really horrible things here on earth, it is our loving Creator's desire to help them overcome what took them there and to take them to the light. But remember, that's not your job. You do not need to focus on anybody but you. Please focus on you. Even now today, here I am. I don't focus on you. I will help you. I will protect myself. I will learn and I will grow. So my question to you is, what are you hiding inside? Why are you hiding it, and who are you hiding it from? And I remember telling Jesus, I was like, yeah, I snuck alcohol. And he said, what did you say? I said, I was sneaking drinks. And he said, sneaking from who? And then I was like, oh, you saw it all. I can sneak and hide from earthly things, but remember, he sees it all. And when he sees it all, he's not scorning us or judging us or talking crap about us. That's human people. Jesus looks at us with love. Our Creator looks at us with love. The angels look at us with love and are protecting us and wanting to get us out of the muck and the mess that we or other people have put us in. So my question to you is, or my statement to you is, if you are living a lifestyle that others don't agree with, and you are not hurting anybody, you are not doing anything wrong. If you are in a horrible marriage and you are not happy and you have tried to rectify the situation, you are not required to stay in that marriage. Get away and go live a life. Love yourself. If you have hurt other people because you were hurting, you need to forgive yourself, even if they can't or won't forgive you. As long as you have learned and you have grown and you have learned that you don't ever have to talk to or treat anyone like that again, you have made it. You have grown through that situation. If you do not have a lot of money and you work hard, you do not have to compare yourself to anybody else who thinks they are better than you, because I'm going to tell you, they're not. No one is better than anyone. You are good. You are beautiful. You are wonderful. No matter, I don't care who you are or where you are. The most important thing that Jesus taught me that day is, Wendy, you have the right to be who you are. Jesus said, I don't look down upon you. You are not separated from me. You are not less than me. You are not yucky. The world has said that I set all of these rules for you and that I look down upon you and that you're separated by sin and all these weird things. He said they are wrong. We are one. Can you feel me? Can you feel me? Can you feel my love? Can you hear my laugh? Can you sense my presence? Can you know that I created people to be so interesting and unique and different and beautiful and crazy, wonderful? Yeah. You know what? I believe that. I believe that. So whether you are black or white, spiritual, astrological, Buddhist oriented, what our Creator wants from us is to truly love who I am, who you are. Who are you? You are beautiful. Be kind to me and be kind to you, and know that there is no reason to hide. There is no reason to be shameful in your existence. Your existence is how you were created to be. In session 2 of my counselor, I learned that it's not him who I needed to forgive me. Because he said, Wendy, it's not about me forgiving you or God forgiving you. It's about you forgiving you, so you can be free to be and to grow and to love and to learn. I don't require things like that, he said. What I want for you and for humanity to know is that you are all so interesting to me. And I like to spend time on earth, he said, because I like being human. I learn from you just as much as you learn from me, he said. I left that session with so much work left to do, but I left there thinking, I liked my relationship with Helen. I like that part of me. I like the part of me who changes my mind a lot, because I got a lot to do and I want to explore the world. I like the part of me who, as my best friend Dustin says, Wendy, you can cry in a heartbeat. Not because I'm sad, but because I find being alive interesting and emotional and sappy. I like the part of me that learned from all of those things that I did wrong. Because the things that I did wrong helped me to learn that I am all right being me. I hope